Hello everyone, welcome to my Dark Souls NPC challenge run. In this series, we're going to ask the question, can you beat the game as various NPCs? However, after beating the game as a chosen NPC, the game will get harder as it goes to a subsequent New Game Plus run. So, let's strap on in and ask the question, can you beat Dark Souls as Havel the Rock? And welcome back to this last and final run, everyone, of our NPC Run Challenge. As a reminder, I will be stuck as Havel the Rock, which means I'm going to be wearing the Havel gear. I'm going to be using Havel's shield. I have to leave Havel's ring on the entire time, and I'm going to be using the Dragon Tooth. There are also an added complexity to this run because I'm going to kill everything that is killable and unique. So as an added little challenge for this run, we're going to be doing an all boss run. We're going to kill all the bosses. I'm going to kill all of the NPCs, and I'm going to kill every unique enemy, all the knights, the mini bosses that when you kill them once, they don't respawn, like the Titanite demon in the basement. So right off the bat, I headed on into the Asylum demon. And I am ashamed to say that on New Game 7, he actually one-shot me. I was trying to roll back as this big old beefy boy, and he just happened to catch me the wrong way. But I wiped the egg off my face and went back in and destroyed him pretty easily once I took him a little bit more serious. After that, I headed on over to the Undead Asylum, and I just began murdering my way through everything. So we started with murdering the Crestfallen Warrior. And then we made our way through the Undead Burg and murdered the Undead Merchant. We then handled the Black Knight that is down in the Burg. I used the Master Key to shortcut down to Havel, where I killed Havel. Went back up and handled the Taurus Demon, no problem at all. And then made my way across the bridge and killed Solaire, which I have to admit did not feel good. Did not feel good at all. I know. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh man. Oh, that does not feel good. That does not feel good. Oh man, Havel, you're a jerk. Oh man. All right. After that, I felt like I needed a shower, but we did die to the Hellkite, and I couldn't help but feel like I just deserved that death. It felt like karma. We then died again to the piggy right after the Hellkite, but we were able to kill the piggy, deal with the Black Knight in the tower, and then I made my way through the Undead Parish. Once there, it was time to kill Siegmeyer, which this was actually a mistake, and I'll explain why that was such a bad idea later in the video. And then it was time to kill Andre and roast his body on the bonfire. After that, I went down to the basement and handled the Titanite demon, made our way back through the chapel where I killed the Baronite Knight. I then dealt with the Channeler, we murdered Lautrec, and then we went up to deal with the gargoyles, which was, again, not really a problem. I rang the bell, and the hardest boss of this entire run was Oswald. This man was fast, and he could heal, and he was tucking away in a spot where my Dragon Tooth couldn't reach him while he healed for full health. It was just so frustrating, but again, it felt like karma. It felt like I was paying my due, and I did deserve every death I got from Oswald. But eventually we caught him, we killed him, and then I made my way over to deal with the Moonlight Butterfly, and just a little bit of patience and a few bonks, and the butterfly went down. Using the crest from Andre, I went over to Sif, and we dealt with the puppy. Just as runs before, we had way too much poise for the dog to do anything to us, so he was pretty easy. Then I went over to Darkroot Basin. I killed the knight over there. And then we made our way over to the Hydra, and I bonked off all the heads of the Hydra. I made my way over to the Golden Golem and saved Dusk, though I would deal with her later. And at this point, we made our way back to the Undead Asylum. Once there, I killed Oscar. I dealt with both Black Knights in the Asylum, and then crumbled on through the floor and dealt with the Stray Demon. On this run, everything kind of felt simple and easy, even though it's New Game 7 and things did hit like a truck. My shield could pretty much mitigate all the damage I had to worry about. And so Stray Demon was just a matter of, patience, shielding up, learning his moves, and taking him out. After that, it was time to kill the Hellkite. So I made my way back over to Hellkite. And his fire could pretty much one-shot me, but I used the reach of the tooth to go around back and actually bonk the Hellkite from behind the wall. And you hit him, he hits the bridge for a second, comes back up to his perch, and you just rinse repeat until he dies. I made my way down to the lower Undead Berg. I saved Griggs, only to kill him. I tried to kill the sewer merchant, but after one failed attempt of a hit, she just made her way all the way back and began to just mock me for an eternity. Okay. She's just gonna yell at me every time I go by. Once I was done listening to the roast of Havel, I made my way down to Capra Demon, and the hardest part of this fight was actually the dogs. I had a weird death to just a massive bleed buildup out of nowhere and just kind of died without even realizing I had died so quick. But I made my way back, and we killed the puppies, and then we bonked Capra to death, and that was that. Made my way down with the key to save Laurentis, to kill Laurentis, and then we killed both of the butchers. And then went a little deeper down. We murdered a giant rat. We murdered Domhall of Xena. And then I dealt with the channeler in the sewers, and then popped on down and dealt with the undead dragon. His hitbox was frustrating as usual, but this weapon just does so much damage. We were able to take him out, no problem. I made my way back up and then back down to kill Maneater Mildred, headed on over to Quelaag. Dealt with Quelaag, though I did die to her once from her massive fire damage. I equipped the flame plate ring with Havel's ring, and we were able to handle Quelaag with just a little bit more patience and punishing the right moves. We rang the bell. We played This Little Piggy with Ceaseless till he fell to his death. And heading back up to Firelink, we then destroyed the entire Way of White. At this point, I realized I had forgotten the doll, so I made my way back over to the Undead Asylum, and I grabbed the doll. Then it was time to run through Sen's Fortress. I died once, but I was able to save Logan, and then I was able to finish Sen's Fortress. Up at the top, I killed the giant. I killed the crestfallen merchant. I made my way over to Ricard, and we killed Ricard. I was a little bit worried that he would be too fast for me, but actually, once we caught him, he died pretty easily. And then I filmed my rematch against the Golem as Tarkus, and I messed up. I had messed up the force quit. Once again, I didn't quit fast enough. So I would have to go back on New Game 8 and kill the Golem all over again. I'll cover that in a moment. But up on Orlando, we killed the first gargoyle. We made our way through the rafters. We killed the second gargoyle. We made our way past the archers, actually quite easy this time, which was surprising. And then I grabbed a second dragon's tooth, and I decided to kill the mimic that holds the occult club in the most creative way. I have a really dumb idea. Not you. There it is. Oh, come on. I got it. I have to. Oh, that was dumb. That was so dumb. I love it. Now we get to the real challenge of the run. Everything at this point has been kind of homework. It's just been bonking some NPCs and dealing with some bosses who were minor little speed bumps in our path to the end of the game. However, now we got to deal with Ornstein and Smo. And so heading into this, I used some charcoal pine resin just to add some fire damage to my weapon. And I treated the first fight as a test. I knew I was settling in for the long haul. And, on the first just test run, not even expecting to win, we did really well against these guys. The shield can block all the damage as long as your stamina bar doesn't wear off. So it was a matter of just trying to watch my back and make sure they didn't hit me from behind, and to watch my endurance bar and make sure that my stamina did not wear off. They did catch me on a little 1-2. The second time through, I got a little greedy with the retrieval. I died on a few of the runbacks. And yeah, it was a pretty challenging fight. One annoying thing was just these random crits would just kind of catch me off to the side and instant kill me, which was a weird kind of phenomenon that happened. There were quite a few annoying deaths, and I ended up taking a break at one day and coming back the next day with some fresh hands, fresh eyes, fresh endurance of my own personal sheer will. And yeah, the goal was to bully them because I couldn't really separate them very easy like I could on other runs. I was just too slow. So we had to kind of stay in the eye of the storm, and that just took some work knowing how to dance in between these two. But eventually we caught Ornstein, and then when it was just mano-y-mano, it was much easier to deal with Smo. And with being able to stagger him, we put him down. After this, I accidentally missed the part where I recorded killing Guinevere with a firebomb. That sucked. But went down to Firelink and I finished off Logan. Then I made my way back to the Dark Moon Tomb and we killed Gwendolyn. To kill Gwendolyn, it was just a matter of, strafing left, strafing right, and bonking him when the time came. It was long, it was tedious, but it was easy. Headed on over to the blacksmith and murdered him, nighty-night. And then we killed Ingward, we drained the lake. We placed the Lord Vessel, and we went down to the Four Kings. Oh, what can I say about these guys? We did plenty of damage, we had plenty of poise, and so all in all, we were able to kill each king pretty much before the next king popped up, and we put them down, no problem. Headed on over to Izalith, and we killed Kirk for the first time. We dealt with the Fire Sage, we dealt with the Centipede Demon, and then we headed on over to the Bed of Chaos, but first we had to kill Kirk a second time, and one of the Daughters of Chaos. And then we dealt with the Bed of Chaos. I found by unequipping my shield and Dragon Tooth that I could medium roll. And so knowing that, and with all my practice from the previous 6 runs, we were able to make that jump on our first try, and then we just bludgeoned the Bed of Chaos to death. After this, we headed on over to Duke's Archives. We killed Piggy 1, Piggy 2, murdered the Crystal Smith, died to Seath, and then made our way over to Seath. This was a little bit of a more interesting fight with Seath. I couldn't just nuzzle in and take him out like I could on previous runs. I found that I had to be a little bit more creative with my footwork, but eventually we did find our way in, and after 2 deaths, we were able to kill Seath the Scaleless. Heading on down to the Catacombs, we killed the first Necromancer, we killed the second Necromancer, we killed Pinwheel, skipping all the other Necromancers, though I would get one later. I then murdered Patches in the dark, and I killed the Black Knight that hides out in the Tomb of Giants. I died to Paladin Leroy the first time, but I killed him on the second try. I went down to Nito, and again, this fight was a lot more interesting on New Game 7. I didn't have a divine weapon to deal with the skeletons, so they were a constant problem, and I wasn't as fortunate with the AI of Nito this time around, so I had to work a little harder for this fight, but we were able to dance around the slow Skelly Boy and kill him. I then headed back over to the Valley of Drakes and killed the Undead Dragon. And then it was time to handle some DLC content. So I headed over to the painting. I lowered the gate, dealing with all the bone wheels. We killed King Jeremiah. I killed the Undead Dragon on the bridge. I killed the Baronite Knight there and then headed into Priscilla. And she was hard to spot, but I was able to locate her, get her out of her invisible mode, and drop her no problem. I forgot about the Mimic in on Orlando. I did not end up killing all the Mimics on this run, but I did give it a fair shot. I can't quite remember where they all are. And then I went into Ulasil. I handled the Guardian the same way that I handled Ornstein and Smo, which was I treated the first few fights as just a way to kind of learn the boss. He's not one I'm used to. He's very fast. He's very aggressive. But we learned what moves we could punish and then put him down. I then murdered this mushroom lady. I don't remember her name. And then we died once to Chester, but came back and caught him in between reloading his crossbow and was able to get him put down for good. Heading into Artorias, I was super worried about this fight. But dealing with Artorias, I found once again the shield could block all the damage pretty much. It was just a matter of learning which moves we could punish, which was only about 2 moves. I had to catch him on his 3rd sword swing. Some of the moves you'd think you'd be able to punish with his jump, spin, and slam. You'd think you could catch him after that, but you cannot. He's just too fast. I was not able to damage him quick enough to stop him from buffing up, so I found out it was better just to let him buff up because I could still block all of his damage. And so we were patient, we waited, it took a while, but we put Artorias down. And then I went back over and murdered his girlfriend, Syrian. I grabbed the pendant in the middle of Ulasil. I killed a mimic for a gate to get over to Go, though I do believe I missed a mimic somewhere in the middle there. I killed whatever this abomination is. I have no idea what this guy is, but I believe he's a unique enemy. And then it was time to go in and fight Manus. Another fight that worried me. All of these DLC bosses are fast, they're aggressive, they're mean, they hit hard. But with Havel, as usual, the strategy was always the same. It was shield up, kind of learn the movesets. Using the pendant, I was able to mitigate the big magic, like a dark damage that he does. And we learned how to catch Manus. I think with him, I learned that going over to the side of his claw was actually his weak point. His hitboxes don't smack as much on his left side. And we got around back and we killed him eventually. I then went and talked to Go, said hi to Calamite, went back and had Go shoot Calamite, and then like a monster that I am, I murdered Go for his help. He was actually the hardest giant of the run to fight. And then we went down to deal with Calamite. This is a boss that I've never actually beaten, not even on New Game 1, but I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot through all of these New Game 1 through 7, and we've just really learned to become a better player. I've really gotten good through all of these. And the Havel set really comes with a lot of advantages. Calamite's Cataclysmic Curse really didn't do that much damage and didn't seem to affect us too much. So again, with this boss, we were patient. We found the right places to hit. We needed to get a little bit mobile to watch out for his fire breath, but in the end, yeah, he actually wasn't that difficult. After this, I realized I forgot a mimic at the bottom of Sen's fortress, so I made my way back there and killed him. And then I was planning on not killing Vamos because I really hate making my way down there, but I bit the bullet and did my homework. We killed a 3rd necromancer, we made our way down to Vamos, and we put him out of his misery. After this, I joined the forest hunters, I killed Shiva, all of the hunters, and then made Alvira angry. With all of my homework done, or so I thought, I offered the souls to the Lord Vessel and went down to murder Gwyn. Dealing with Gwyn was tough. We could not parry him, so he was going to be a little bit more of a difficult fight. However, I finally, at the end of the game, utilized my stone skin ability from my shield. I actually equipped 2 shields, and my extra Havel shield, I broke it using that buff. Well, then I switched to my other +5 shield, which remained intact and ready for the fight. And yeah, Gwyn was a tough guy, but there was no cheese strategy to him. We just had to deal with him. And just with Calamite, with Manus, with Artorias, we learned his patterns, we shielded up, and then we put him down finally. It was a little bit hard because his fire damage did actually go through our shield. He was the only boss who could get a little bit of damage through our shield. And then I cast the world in darkness, feeling satisfied when my gut sank and I realized that there was quite a little bit more homework I had to do. So I booted into New Game 8. And first thing I did was I used the Master Key and headed on down to Blighttown. I had to kill Quelaag one more time, but after that I dealt with Iggy, the Grubs, and the Fair Lady. I then went all the way down to the Hydra at the bottom of the map and we killed him. I had to save Laurentis and then plus my Pyromancy Glove up to plus 15. I was drowning in souls, so it was very easy. And then we killed Quaylana. I worked my way all the way back up through Sens and recorded Havel versus the Golem. And so we had a fair fight this time. It was actually much easier as Havel than it was as Tarkus. This weapon just did plenty of damage. I then, because I killed Guinevere, I missed out on killing the Honorlando Firekeeper. So this time I was able to kill the Honorlando Firekeeper. And then I had to deal with Ornstein and Smo all over again. I had to place the Lord Vessel. And then I dealt with the Duke's Archive Mimics. I realized I couldn't kill Rickert, and the final boss of the run was I had to do all the homework to make my way all the way back through Duke's Archives and kill the Golden Golem and finally kill Sieglund. And that was finally the run of New Game 7, which is technically New Game 1 through New Game 8 of our NPC challenge. I will be recording a video where I put them all together and show my run from New Game 1 as the Crestfallen Warrior all the way through to Havel in New Game 8. But let's wrap up by talking about this run. You know, Havel in the lore was always presented to me as the true villain of Dark Souls. Gwyn was kind of this misunderstood hero who was sacrificing himself to light the flame. Havel was some sort of spurned, angry cleric, or maybe he was the good guy from other points of view, but he just seemed like this dark, imposing, evil figure. His gear really let me bully New Game 7 and New Game 8 without having any actual problems along the run, just kind of learning new ways to dance, new ways to move, as is typical for a New Game 7 run. By the end of the run, the world felt kind of empty and hollow. A lot of the charm of Dark Souls was missing from some of the characters that we enjoy, like Solaire, or just kind of seeing the group gather around Firelink before the end of the game. Running through the various areas and realizing that I had murdered all of the NPCs in the area just kind of felt sad. In a funny way, murdering all of these characters really taught me just how much they add to the game and how much you miss them when they're not around. For Dark Souls being a game all about preparing to die and darkness and death, there's actually a lot of bright lights down in this darkness. There's actually a lot of charm to this game. There's a lot of beautiful sights, sounds, interesting, intriguing NPCs to meet. And you just realize how much this game was meant to be flavored with little interactions with characters here and there. This was quite the run, and it was a lot of fun, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and I hope you'll tune in where I talk about the full run in its entire scope from New Game 1 all the way to New Game 8, playing through all of these characters. It's been a joy making these videos for you guys, and I will catch you on our next series, though I'm going to take a little bit of a break from a 1 to 7 run, so we're going to do something a little easy for our next video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.